Good afternoon, A-class students. It's Uncle William back again for week 10. Today we're going to do Unit 8. If I hadn't. So what are we going to learn today? The third conditional. We learned the first, we learned the second, and today we're going to learn the third. And vocabulary, collocations, common uses of go. So let's start off by looking at these pictures here. Looks like a messy living room. And this woman here, and this man and a woman. What do you think these people are doing here? How many hours every night do you sleep? How much sleep do you need? Okay. So while you think about those, we can just move on to the next page. And it's a conversation between Sarah and Mandy. Let's listen.
Unit 8, page 50, conversation.
Do you know what time it is? It's almost 9 o'clock.
Well, don't blame me. If you'd gone to bed earlier last night, you wouldn't have overslept.
Why didn't you wake me up? You know my parents are coming over this morning. They'll be here any minute.
At your age, you should be old enough to take care of yourself.
You're supposed to be a friend.
I am. I warned you not to stay up watching TV all night. If you'd listened to me, you'd have turned it off and gone to bed when I told you.
But then I'd have missed the end of the movie. Oh no, just look at this place. What a mess. Can you help me tidy up?
No way. It's all your stuff anyway. I've been asking you to clear it away for days.
Oh, come on, please.
Too late. I think your parents are here. Isn't that their car coming up the street?
Okay, Sarah looks like she's in trouble. And if you have a partner there, you can practice this conversation, reading it between Sarah and Mandy. And let's look a little closer at this conversation, and we see some conditionals here. If you'd gone to bed earlier, you wouldn't have overslept. Okay. And here's another one. If you'd listened to me. Okay, so let's go over to the language box and take a closer look at some conditionals.
Unit 8, page 50, language box.
If you'd gone to bed earlier, you wouldn't have overslept. If she hadn't watched TV all night, she'd have woken up on time.
Okay? This is called the third conditional. We learned the first, we learned the second, and this one is the third. So let's go learn more about it on page 109. We use the third conditional to express imaginary or unreal situations in the past. These situations are often the opposite of what actually happened. And the form of the third conditional is if. The past perfect, we learned the past perfect, remember that's had plus the participle had known. Okay. Comma, wouldn't have, would or wouldn't have, I would have, and the past participle bought. Okay. So take a look at these. I didn't know about her birthday. I didn't buy her a present. So to make a conditional from these two sentences, if I had known about her birthday, I would have bought her a present. Okay, and look at the next one. I was late. I missed the movie. If I hadn't been late, I wouldn't have missed the movie. Okay? And of course, like all conditionals, we can put this part first and this part second. But when you do that, we don't use the comma. For example, I wouldn't have missed the movie if I hadn't been late. Period. Okay? Would or wouldn't can be replaced by could or couldn't to talk about ability. If he hadn't felt ill, he could have gone to the party. He would have been able to go to the party. And would and wouldn't can also be replaced by might or might not for possibility. If I hadn't escaped, I might have been killed. It's possible that I would have been killed. Okay? That's not a nice thought to put in an English book, but hey, let's go to the next part. So stop your video and try to complete exercise 1. Okay, let's take a look at the answers. Okay, let me show you those again. I went a little fast. These are all pretty straightforward. They all take the same form. If plus the past perfect. If plus the past perfect had saved. Saved is not, that's not the simple past, that's the past participle. Saved. Comma, would have, or wouldn't have, and another past participle. Gone. 2 past participles in each one. Okay? Next one, match the phrases. Go ahead and stop the video, try to do those. Okay, let's take a look. Okay. So the first one is G. If she hadn't overslept, she wouldn't have missed the lecture. Those are all pretty straightforward. You can do those without too much trouble. Let's head back to vocabulary on page 51. Complete each phrase with remember or remind. What's the difference between these? Remember is for myself. Remind is for someone else. Okay? Remember is for me. Remind is for you. So go ahead, stop the video and do those. Okay? Remember meeting someone. I remember to call someone. I remind someone else to call you. Okay? Remember. Remind someone else. Remember. Remember. Remind someone else. Okay? Take a look at these verbs and complete the sentences. You can use your dictionary if you want. Okay, Okay, let's look at the answers. Okay, and finally for part 3, match each sentence with a response. Okay, let's take a look at the answers. Do you remember watching this movie before? It rings a bell. Have you ever heard that? It rings a bell? That means I can kind of remember. It rings a bell. Let's try number 3. Please remember what I said. Okay, I'll bear it in mind. That's an expression that means I'll remember. Okay. Let's go to the next part. Before you listen, complete the conversation using a verb in the correct form. This is the 3rd conditional. So stop the video and try to do that. Okay, let's listen to it.
Unit 8, page 51, real life exchange.
I forgot it was my best friend's birthday last weekend.
Oh no. Didn't anyone remind you?
No, if someone had reminded me, I wouldn't have forgotten it.
Maybe if you had written it on your calendar, you wouldn't have forgotten.
Okay, so let's take a look at this a little closer. A is using the simple past. I forgot. Okay, I didn't remember, I forgot. B, didn't anyone remind you? Okay. And this one, A, takes the 3rd conditional. If someone had reminded me, past perfect, I wouldn't have forgotten. Okay. And another 3rd conditional. If you had written it, you wouldn't have forgotten. These are both wouldn't have forgotten. Okay. And finally, let's go to this part, sounding natural. Number the lines in each conversation in order. Okay. So let's listen to it.
Unit 8, page 51, strategy.
Conversation 1. I think this TV is broken.
How come? It was working yesterday.
I have no idea. We need to get it repaired.
There's no point. It's cheaper to buy a new one.
Conversation 2.
How about going out tonight?
No, I'm not up for it. I'm too tired.
Well, I could use a night out.
Okay, hang on a minute. I'll get my jacket.
Okay. So basically what they're trying to say is, if you use these expressions, these are common expressions in, I know American English, I don't know about British English, but these are all common things to say. Hang on a minute. That means, wait a minute. I'm not up for it. It means I don't really feel like doing that. There's no point means I don't see any reason to do that. There's no point. Okay, so you can learn those simple phrases to sound more natural in a conversation. Okay, let's go to page 123 to end off for today. what do we have today? Contractions. Listen to the pronunciation of would've and wouldn't have. Notice how I said those. I didn't say would have, I said would've. Okay, let's listen.
Unit 8, page 123, pronunciation.
I would have bought her a present if I'd known. He would have said yes if you'd asked him. We would have been late if we'd left later. She wouldn't have been sad if you'd told her. You wouldn't have gone if I'd asked you. They wouldn't have won if you hadn't let them.
Okay, did you hear how she pronounced would've and wouldn't have? Okay, so listen to that again and try to practice those a few times. And I'll stop there for today. Have a good week and stay safe. And I'll see you next week. Uncle William signing off.